Hello everyone, in this video we'll be discussing chapter 8 history which is peasants, zamindars and the state. तो इस चैप्टर में हम जो भी डिस्कस करेंगे दैट पर्टेन्स टू द 16th and 17th centuries एंड दिस टाइम पर्टेन्स टू द मुगल एम्पायर. तो इस चैप्टर में एंड नेक्स्ट चैप्टर में हम मुगल एम्पायर के बारे में ही बात करेंगे. हाउएवर इस चैप्टर में जो हमारा फोकस है दैट वुड बी ऑन द रूरल सोसाइटी. So basically the emphasis of this chapter would be on rural or agricultural society. Agricultural society इसलिए because the rural society was marked by agriculture. तो जो dominant activity थी rural society में that was agriculture. Now the importance of agriculture can be gathered from different points. The first is that almost 85% of the population lived in villages. And secondly, the state derived bulk of its income from agricultural activities. तो बिफोर गोइंग फर्दर लेट्स ब्रीफली डिस्कस अबाउट द मुगल एम्पायर. तो जो मुगल एम्पायर की ड्यूरेशन थी दैट वाज फ्रॉम 1526 टू 1857 रफली. एंड इसमें भी जो 1540 टू 1555 का टाइम पीरियड था दैट वाज नॉट रूल्ड बाय द मुगल्स बिकॉज इस टाइम पे शेर शाह सूरी वाज रूलिंग हु डिफीटेड हुमायूं. And Mughals are people who came from Central Asia. So the first ruler of the Mughal Empire was Babur, and he was born in Uzbekistan, which is a country in Central Asia. It is said कि जो Mughals हैं they are of the Mongol descent, that is from Genghis Khan and others. And it is stated कि जो Mughal word है that is the corrupted form of Mongol. Another thing which is important to note at this time is that इनका जो inclination थी मुगल्स की जो inclination थी that was more towards the Persian culture, that is the culture of Persia which is present day Iran. That is the reason why इनकी जो official language थी जो court language थी that was Persian, and we'll see further in the chapter how the major documents, the major texts and chronicles were written in the Persian language, particularly N.A. Akbari. So now coming back to the topic at hand, we were discussing that the rural society was synonymous to agricultural society. Why? Because agriculture was the main activity which was performed in the rural society. तो अब society की जो basic unit थी that was village which was inhabited by the peasants. अब peasants की भी types होती हैं, for example खुद कश्त and pahi कश्त which we will discuss in a few minutes. So these peasants they performed manifold seasonal tasks. Seasonal tasks इसलिए because agriculture is a seasonal activity, right? So they performed multiple tasks, for example tilling the soil, sowing the seeds, harvesting the crop, etc. Also there was production of agro-based products, that is agricultural based products, for example sugar and oil. So sugar comes from sugarcane which is an agricultural product. Similarly oil comes from oil seeds which is again an agricultural product. So अब we've seen that the dominant activity was agriculture. However rural India की जो topography थी, topography is basically the physical features of an area. तो जो physical features थे area के they were varied, they differed from place to place. That is why not all regions were fertile or cultivable. Therefore, in some places, agriculture was not the activity which was performed by the people. There were other activities also which people performed, and with time we will get an idea of what all these activities were about. So now the next topic which we have is that how do we get to know about the existence or the workings of rural society? What are the sources through which we get to know about the rural society? So the most important source in case of Mughal Empire are the chronicles and documents of the Mughal courts. So अब when we discuss the previous chapters, we've seen that when we talk about the sources to reconstruct history, there are multiple sources. For example, inscriptions, literature, material remains, accounts of foreign travelers, etc. So in case of Mughal Empire, we did have all these sources. However, the most important thing was that the state took the initiative of documenting things. Because of this fact कि state ने खुद ही important events, important happenings को document किया, we have rich data about the Mughal Empire. अब chronicles का मतलब होता है accounts of important historical events in chronological order, that is a serial order. So the most important chronicle on which we will be focusing on this chapter is N.A. Akbari. So let's briefly discuss about this. However, इसकी detailed discussion would be when we will do the last topic of this chapter, which is specifically on N.A. Akbari. तो एन का मतलब होता है रूल्स और रेगुलेशंस। तो एन ए अकबरी का लिटरल मीनिंग है एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ऑफ अकबर। तो अकबर, एज वी ऑल नो, वॉज वन ऑफ द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट रूलर ऑफ द मुगल एम्पायर। तो मुगल एम्पायर की ड्यूरेशन बहुत ज़्यादा रही है। एज वी हैव डिस्कस्ड 1526 से लेके 1857 तक द मुगल एम्पायर एग्जिस्टेड। However, one thing important to note is that not all the rulers were important. Only the first 6 rulers were the prominent ones, जब actually मुगल एम्पायर के पास पावर थी, because later on the British Empire came up and the actual power resided with them. So the first 6 rulers of the Mughal Empire are Babur, Humayun, Akbar, Jahangir, Shah Jahan and Aurangzeb. तो औरंगज़ेब का रूल था 1707. So Akbar was the third ruler and the most famous and the most powerful one. So this particular chronicle, that is N.A. Akbari, was about the administration of Akbar, and he ruled in the 16th century. Now N.A. Akbari was authored by Abul Fazl, who was one of the 9 jewels, that is Navratna of Akbar's court. So it was a document recording in detail the administration of Mughal Empire under Akbar and was written in Persian language. तो Persian language को Farsi language भी कहा जाता है. And now we know why Persian, because Persian was the official or the court language of the empire. Now one very important point here is that N is the third volume of Akbarnama. Akbarnama is again authored by Abul Fazl and is the official history of Akbar's reign. So the first volume of Akbarnama is about Akbar's ancestors, that is from Timur to Humayun. The second volume of Akbarnama is about Akbar's rule till 1602, and the third volume is N.A. Akbari. So N deals with Akbar's administration, household, army, revenue, geography of his empire. It also provides rich details about the traditions and culture of people living in the empire. It also has statistical details about crops, yields, prices, wages, etc. So this is one source जिससे हमें रूरल सोसाइटी के बारे में पता लगता है. We have other sources as well. For example, accounts of foreign travelers, revenue records from Gujarat, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, and even records of the East India Company. Now one important thing is that N जो है उसकी कुछ limitations हैं. दिस इज़ बिकॉज दिस डॉक्यूमेंट वॉज फंडेड बाय द स्टेट. तो ये स्टेट के द्वारा बनाया गया है. बिकॉज ऑफ दिस इसने स्टेट को एक अच्छी लाइट में दिखाया है. However, from these revenue records and records of East India Company, we get to see instances of conflict between peasants, zamindars and the state. We also get to see peasants' perception of the state and their aspirations. So this is all for the sources of reconstruction. Now let's move on to the next topic, which is peasants and their lands. Now coming on to the topic of peasants, तो Indo-Persian texts में different terms were used for peasants. For example, Rayat, Kisan, Asami, etc. अब there were 2 different kinds of peasants. First one were the Khud Kasht and the second were Pahi Kasht. तो खुद कष्ट वर रेजिडेंट्स ऑफ द विलेज इन विच दे हेल्ड देयर लैंड्स. दैट इज़ जहाँ पे उनके लैंड्स थे वो उसी विलेज के रेजिडेंट्स भी थे. इन द केस ऑफ पही कष्ट दे वर नॉन रेजिडेंट कल्टिवेटर्स. दैट इज़ वो रहते एक विलेज में थे, रेजिडेंट एक विलेज के थे और कल्टिवेशन किसी और विलेज के लैंड्स पे करते थे. So the definition of Pahi Kasht is non-resident cultivators who belonged to one village but cultivated land elsewhere on contractual basis. तो अब ये जो कल्टिवेटर्स थे ये एक जगह से दूसरी जगह क्यों जाते थे? दिस वॉज समटाइम्स बिकॉज ऑफ देयर ओन चॉइस एंड समटाइम्स बिकॉज ऑफ कंपल्शन. चॉइस का एग्जाम्पल ये हो सकता है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल दूसरी विलेज उन्हें ज़्यादा वेजेस प्रोवाइड करती थी, वहाँ पे जो वेजेस का रेट था वो ज़्यादा था बिकॉज ऑफ विच दे कल्टिवेटेड इन दैट विलेज. कंपल्शन के केसेस कैन बी मैनी, फॉर एग्जाम्पल बिकॉज ऑफ फेमीन्स or because of some social factors like social boycott, communal disharmony, intra-religious differences, etc. Now we know that agriculture was the dominant activity of the rural society. Now we have to see about the expansion of agriculture. तो एग्रीकल्चर की एक्सपेंशन हुई कैसे? देयर वर 3 मेन फैक्टर्स. फर्स्ट इज़ द अबंडेंस ऑफ लैंड, The second is the mobility of peasants. Mobility of peasants का मतलब है mobility can be horizontal or vertical. Let's take an example of vertical mobility. वर्टिकल मोबिलिटी का मतलब होगा कि इनिशियली पीजेंट्स जो थे वो स्मॉल लैंड होल्डिंग ओन करते थे, दे वर सिंपली रियाट्स, एंड धीरे धीरे दे स्टार्टेड मूविंग अपवर्ड, दैट इज़ वो लार्ज स्केल लैंड होल्डिंग के ओनर बने, देन ही बिकेम ज़मींदार एंड सो ऑन. सो दैट इज़ मोबिलिटी ऑफ पीजेंट्स. एंड द थर्ड फैक्टर इज़ अवेलेबल लेबर. तो जो लेबर की अवेलेबिलिटी थी वो काफ़ी ज़्यादा थी, which boosted agriculture. So we have seen कि 85% of the people lived in villages, and जो Indian agriculture था वो labor intensive था, that is it heavily depended on labor as compared to capital or technology. तो because labor की availability थी, the agriculture in India could expand. Then another reason why agriculture expanded was better irrigation facilities. So irrigation facilities are one of the most important requirements of agriculture, we all know. So Indian agriculture heavily depended on monsoons. Monsoons are considered as the backbone of Indian agriculture. However, one important thing was that the state also supported and funded the irrigation facilities. For example, there were canals which were built by the government or the state. These canals were known as Nehar or Nala. Then another reason which led to the expansion of agriculture was the coming up of technology. Examples of this include wooden plow, drills, etc. Even irrigation systems fall under this category of technology. So now we have seen different factors which characterized agriculture. Now let's discuss the purpose of agriculture. तो इनिशियली द पर्पज़ ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर वॉज सब्सिस्टेंस, दैट इज़ गुजारा. तो लोगों को जितना चाहिए होता था वो उतना ही प्रोड्यूस करते थे एंड कंज्यूम करते थे. हाउएवर विद टाइम, ड्यू टू एक्सपेंशन ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर, इवन कमर्शियल एग्रीकल्चर स्टार्टेड टू बी प्रैक्टिस्ड. सो द एग्रीकल्चर वॉज ऑर्गेनाइज्ड अराउंड 2 मेजर सीजनल साइकिल्स, खरीफ सीजन एंड द रबी सीजन. अब खरीफ सीजन होता है फ्रॉम जून टू सितंबर, दैट इज़ ये क्रॉप्स जून में सो होते हैं एंड सितंबर और अक्टूबर में हार्वेस्ट होते हैं. एंड रबी सीज़न जो होता है दैट इज़ फ्रॉम नवंबर टू अप्रैल और मई, दैट इज़ वो नवंबर में सो होते हैं एंड अप्रैल एंड मई में हार्वेस्ट होते हैं. तो सम एग्जांपल्स ऑफ खरीफ क्रॉप्स आर राइस, कॉटन, मिलेट, ओट्स एट्सेट्रा. सम एग्जांपल्स ऑफ रबी क्रॉप्स आर पीज, व्हीट, ग्राम, बार्ले. तो अब इन 2 सीजनल साइकिल्स का मतलब था कि एक ईयर में एटलीस्ट 2 क्रॉप्स तो ग्रो किए ही जाएंगे, विच मेंट 2 फसला. ऑल्सो क्रॉप रोटेशन वॉज प्रैक्टिस बिकॉज ऑफ विच मोर देन 2 क्रॉप्स कुड बी ग्रोन ऑन अ पर्टिकुलर फील्ड. So because of this, there was a variety of produce, some examples of which are mentioned in the N.A. Akbari. For example, it is stated that Agra produced almost 39 varieties of crops, Delhi produced over 43 varieties of crops, and so on. Then there were certain crops which were referred to as the Jins-e-Kamil, meaning perfect crops. Some examples of these crops are cotton and sugarcane. तो इनको परफेक्ट क्रॉप्स इसलिए कहा जाता था बिकॉज एज कम्पेयर टू अदर क्रॉप्स दे यूज टू ब्रिंग इन मोर रेवेन्यू फॉर द स्टेट, एज अ कॉन्सिक्वेंस ऑफ विच इनकी जो प्रोडक्शन होती थी वो बहुत ही ज़्यादा मैसिव स्केल पे होती थी. देन अनदर रीज़न फॉर दिस वेराइटी ऑफ प्रोड्यूस एंड एक्सपेंशन ऑफ द एग्रीकल्चर वॉज इंटरैक्शन विद द आउटसाइड वर्ल्ड. So because of this interaction with the outside world, several new crops were coming into India in the 17th century. Some examples of which are maize, which came from Africa and Spain. Also, tomatoes, potatoes and chilies from the New World. New World का मतलब है the Western countries, particularly the American continent. So now you may wonder why the American countries are known as the New World. This is because when the Europeans were traveling and were exploring countries, they stumbled upon the American continent. और उस time तक Asia, Africa was already discovered. So when America was discovered, that was something which was unexplored, and therefore it was referred to as the New World. And Europe, Asia and Africa were referred to as the Old World. So this is all about our first topic of peasants and agricultural production. We'll be starting with the next topic, the village community, in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.